Folks, welcome back to So Bad It's Good, presented by Betches Media. So just the other day, I had Xavier Prather on from the new show, The Anonymous, which I'm kind of obsessed about now. And I need you guys to know about it because the final 3 episodes are going to be airing over these next couple of weeks leading to the end, but it is time for you to catch up now. All 9 episodes will be available on Peacock to stream, and then this show airs on USA on Monday nights. Now, it's the producers behind The Traitors, which we love, The Circle, Undercover Boss, Squid Game, The Challenge, and this is a social strategy game that mashes up like Big Brother, has the anonymity of The Circle, and it's really fascinating because there's 2 types of interactions among the players in this show. Part of the time they share this physical space and they interact face to face, they form these relationships, but other times they're in this virtual world behind like an avatar and everybody doesn't know who each other are. They speak freely, they mess with each other's minds under the veil of digital anonymity. And then if their virtual identities are revealed, the real world group dynamic, obviously that's going to pop off. So today this is the man I was very excited because I believe at one point I was upset. I think I've made memes of this man. He was the party planner extraordinaire. He is the self-proclaimed concierge of New York City, who has organized events with a focus on sustainability and zero waste for more than 30 years. But you might know him best for his 2019 documentary that he was a part of, Freier, the greatest party that never happened, where we saw what an amazing employee this man was that would go to great lengths to help out the people that he worked for. So, ladies and gentlemen, from The Anonymous, Season 1, Andy King, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Ryan. Very excited to be here.
Andy, I got to say, you are killing it in this game so far. I have to tell you, I did not think that you were going to be here still in episode 9. How did you feel going into this? And especially when you're around people that have played Survivor, Big Brother, what were your thoughts going in?
Gosh. Well, Ryan, it probably was rather obvious, right? That I was worrying about this and I was sort of looking a little like Joe Biden for the first few episodes, kind of out there a little, trying to figure it out. I mean, things were a little bit confusing. And obviously we described this show is a social experiment. And what's pretty crazy is that, I'm one of 9 children. My mother drank a lot. My father wasn't home a lot. But we were a wealthy family, lived in a big house. Everything looked perfect, but things were always a little askew. Now, my partner is 33 years younger than I am. And so I live another social experiment with like the intergenerational gay world. Yeah. So when I thought about doing the show, I'm like, hey, I'm a walking social experiment, right? So I have a funny feeling that this is going to help me in the show. But talking about crazy, oh my gosh, the crazy world of Danny, the crazy world of The Anonymous. Pretty wild.
I mean, how did they prepare you for a show like this? Because you got to watch this first episode because it kind of takes you behind like what this show is all about. But how did they explain it to you? And how soon did it take for you to catch up to what this game actually was? And that you had to really play strategy. And I mean, we have people in this. I mean, I saw you go through heck when you found out who Jack was. How do you go through preparing for a show like this?
I'm telling you, obviously, Brian, so I am the ultimate team player, right? I am the guy that will do whatever it takes to make things okay for everybody. And so I think that the producers were kind of excited about bringing that aspect to the show. Now, 2 weeks before we started shooting, there was call after call, and like, Andy, you need to really practice up on your lying. How good of a liar are you? I'm like, oh my God, I'm the worst liar. All my friends know when I'm lying. My family's like, Andy, you're fibbing. Like, what's going on? I'm like, all right. You're right. Yeah. So I'm like, oh shit, I need to practice on my lying. And I really started to trip up. And, they said, listen, you're sharing a house with 12 people. There are 2 bedrooms, 6 people per bedroom. I'm like, I am 63 years old. I haven't shared a bedroom with someone except my partner for many, many years. I mean, I'm old. I snore. I'm like, oh, gosh. Okay. Then they say, for a couple hours a day, you go into your hideout and you backstab everybody and you manipulate everybody and you're in an anonymous mode. I'm like, oh, my word. So you could see in the first couple episodes, it was rather comical to me because Christopher and I were kind of the 2 that really weren't quite getting the whole thing. We're kind of like, Christopher, like, do you really? He's like, Andy, I'm just going to be me. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to be me. I'm Andy King. I'm the ultimate team player. Like the whole piece of this show, as you know, Ryan, is like, so who is successful in life? Is it the person that builds an alliance, or is the person that goes at it on their own? And so I am the relationship development guy. I'm the guy that everybody trusts. I'm the guy,
Yeah.
I become the whisperer. I'm like, Ryan, okay, everybody just talks shit about you for the last 2 hours. You put that fucking shirt on you had on last night at dinner. You look so sharp. You walk into lunch and you own the room. Own the room. And so, I mean, I began giving pep talks to everybody. It was like, oh my gosh. And then the producers like pull me aside and they go, Andy, like, you're here to win the show. I'm like, yeah, but I'm also Andy King. Like, I am the ultimate team player. So it behooves me to develop trust. And you know what? I feel like that's a key ingredient in life, right? If people trust you and you're not threatening, you can go a long way. But
well, it's amazing. This is kind of a strategy. I mean, this is kind of being yourself in a sense is its own strategy. But I always wonder for somebody like you that does seem to like help build teams. Is that a burden that you sometimes get tired of carrying? Like, like how awkward was it? And how out of sorts is it when you do have to potentially backstab somebody? Is that something you lose sleep over at night?
I mean, it just tripped me up so much. I was struggling. I can't, what? Like, I'm supposed to talk shit about somebody and now I'm about to have lunch with them? Oh, no. I'm like, but I learned, and I just kept saying to everybody, it's just a game. We've got to remember it's just a game. But the intensity level was crazy. And so we were on the go. I mean, on the go, on camera, and constantly there was just the digging. And I wasn't following the fact that like Nina would say one thing to somebody and another thing to somebody else, creating a dramatic drama scene, which I'm like, oh, I didn't even pick up on that. Oh, okay. Yeah. But then, you see as the episodes go on that I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. Yeah. That's not going to fly. That behavior is not good. She's kind of poison. He is such and such. And so you start to learn how to plant seeds and get people thinking, who needs to go today? Who needs to go?
I mean,
tomorrow?
you were able to get your bearings, and I hope everybody's caught up at this point because we left off on a little bit of a cliffhanger. If you get power or not, and I mean, I guess you can't tell us now if you get power or not, but if you do, I think you're going to take out Dillian. Obviously, I would imagine. And this is what the amazing thing about this game, you guys, is it changes on a dime. And Danny, who is like the voice of this, constantly is throwing new things in their path, new challenges, changes the game on a dime. And that's why it constantly, as an audience, you are kept on your toes. Were you, I mean, God, I thought at this point, like, you're still here. I'm like, you could win this entire thing.
Oh, I could. That's it's the crazy thing. It's the crazy thing. And what was interesting is that I went on the show basically with a mindset that I wanted to change the narrative. I want the world to know the real Andy King. I don't really want to be known as the blowjob king from the Fire Festival for the rest of my life. I'd kind of like to be known as, wow, that's an amazing guy. Like the guy is, he devotes a lot of his time to saving the planet. He's pretty blessed. He's pretty cool. He's a pretty cool gay guy. He's not too flamboyant. He's whatever, So I thought this would be an amazing opportunity. Then suddenly I'm like, well, okay, I could change the narrative, but I can also, win $100,000. So, hey, sharpen up, Andy, and pay attention.
I mean, I got to tell you, and just what you said, this is why this show, it does this brilliantly, because it does change the narrative on you a little bit. But at the same time, it's one of the things that I was kind of excited to watch, because I think, as weird as it must be for you, I think how kind of beloved you are in terms of pop culture just from this Fyre Fest documentary. And what he was describing, if you don't know, I always recommend going back to watch that documentary because it was fascinating. But you were like in charge. You had to go to customs and you were going to do anything to get this water. And as you said, fellatio gets brought up, and you were the voice and face that like set sail 1,000 million memes. And I got to tell you, though, you endeared yourself to a lot of us. So I was so excited to see who you are and more about you. Was there any trepidation at all? Because you said, oh, this will be interesting to change the narrative. Did it take a little convincing, or were you on board immediately? Or were you even shocked you were asked?
I mean, pretty shocked I was asked. And then, I started, total honesty, you got to go through a whole series of physical exams and all these different things. And the doctor kept saying, okay, here's the questionnaire. Okay, Andy, apparently the producers want to know, how would you do in a dark room full of snakes? I'm like, you got the wrong guy. And then the next question is, how do you think Andy would do treading water in the middle of the ocean in cold water for a long period of time? I'm like, wrong guy. I am 63 years old. I'm pretty physically fit, but I mean, no. And of course, I started to panic a little bit knowing about so many of these reality shows, but of course, this isn't the case. This is much more a mind game. And, with a lot of these shows, you have to meet with, a doctor every couple of days, and they ask, how you feeling? I'm like,
Yeah.
I think I'm okay, but it's getting pretty stressful here. You sure you're
Yeah,
doing
because I
okay?
mean,
I'm
mentally,
like,
not just physically, mentally, how are you doing?
yeah, I'm like, who is football? Oh my God. And I
Wait, guys,
convinced
if you're not
myself.
watching the show, that's what I'm talking about the little avatars. Like they get to pick who they are. Like Xavier was, I think, fish, and scissors. They get to
Yeah.
pick. And so that's how you know them in the digital world. So you're guessing like, which one of my castmates is this person? You have no clue. That's the whole, so it completely drives you batty.
Oh my gosh. And I literally had convinced myself that football was Marcel the whole time. And so when it was unveiled, when Jack announces he's football, I mean, you saw I
Your
lost it.
face on that was,
I didn't even, I mean, I was kind of looking across going, no, this isn't happening. No. Because not only was he like my compadre, he was my balance every morning. We would chat a little bit at breakfast, a little bit at lunch, a little bit at dinner. It was like a check and balance situation, which was wonderful. And then suddenly I'm like, oh my word. Not only was he my balance system, he was the one that was trying to drive me crazy every day. But what a smart tactic, right? Like
yeah.
no one knew it was Jack, because why would Jack try to drive me crazy? We were best friends in the show. Nobody
But Andy,
figured it out.
I mean, no, but it's so fascinating because a lot of times in competition reality series now, they take these grudges to the grave. Like, if Jack betrays me, I will never forgive Jack for the rest of my life. But you seem like such a person, like you just said, it's just a game. Have you spoken with Jack after all of this? And are you guys good? Because it was such a fun relationship that you thought was completely real. And in a lot of ways it was.
I mean, I love Jack. And we talked on the phone the other night. I mean, we entertain, we have a lot of people for dinner, and they'll say, so we hate Jack. I'm like, hold on a minute. And I call Jack. Now, Jack's in LA and I'm in New York. It's time difference. I'm like, no. I'm like, Jack. He's like, Andy, how are you? I'm like, good. I said, Jack, I just need the world to know that you're not this horrible person. But think about it, Ryan. He was an amazing game player. Like, amazing. Yes. He's an amazing game player. So my admiration for that is like, wow, like you were incredible. He was incredible. And I think that's what empowered me. I'm like, you know what? You played a great game. Unfortunately, you're gone, which totally freaked me out. But at the end of the day, he was playing an amazing game, and someone needed to get rid of him, or he would have won, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was one of the people that was up there that I thought, yeah, like he's gunning for the end and he has a plan in place to do that. But then how did that affect your gameplay once that was revealed at the top of show? Then did that switch you into another kind of hyperdrive of like, I'm been friendly, I'm been team player, and now I've got to change certain aspects of my game? Or do you just kind of like, nope, I stay with the Andy way?
I think I had to click from being like Joe Biden to Donald Trump. I had to go like, you know what? You better watch out for yourself now, Andy, because no one else is. And you better be self-centered. You better be willing to back your grandmother over in the driveway. You better be willing to take anybody down. And I think that was the jolt. It was like, oh my God, Jack's gone. I am alone here now with this crazy group. I better click into gear. I better pay attention to every detail. And so I think that it helped that point. It did.
Are you watching these episodes back as they air?
Yes. Yeah. It's very nerve-wracking because, of
That's
course,
yeah.
I mean, and what's interesting, I'm sure, Ron, you've talked to so many reality TV show people, is when you finish shooting and you get home, you get to a point where you feel like it was a dream. You're like, did that really happen? I don't think, oh, wow. Wait. And then you kind of start to black things out. Like you just, I can't remember, blah, 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 blah. Now I'm watching going, oh no. But I'm thankful that some of the things that I did say, I know I said were kind of cut out, which is good because I don't want to be that
wait,
person.
wait, Andy. What are the things that got cut out of this show? You can't tease us like this. What were you worried that got cut out?
I can't
Give
say
us
too
one.
much.
You can't give us one?
Well, there was one person in the cast that was terrorizing me, and I kind of said something like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
and then the producers met with me the next day, and they're like, Andy, like, do you have mafia ties in New York? I'm like, no, it was just a figure of speech. I was just saying something like,
you're going to sleep with the fishes. You're going to sleep with the fishes.
This person, I mean, it was pretty good. But what an amazing show. And now I'm excited because now the time slot's gone from 11 o'clock on Monday nights to 10 o'clock. So that's going to be helpful. And I think that, it's going to be a show that people are going to binge, and
that's it, Andy. That's it exactly. Because I found this show, I feel like a couple weeks late, and then I was able to catch up, and I can't wait for the next episode. I'm like, oh, wow, we have 3 episodes left. So I was like, I can't wait to tell my audience about this because it's this really good show that I think really deserves a second season because the gameplay, if you love Survivor, Big Brother, The Circle, this thing combines them all. And I love the casting on this, including you. And I love that you're thriving in this. Back to watching those episodes really quick. Were there moments when you're watching not your own performance, but others speak about you? Has there been anything that stung?
No, I know that it was kind of funny because Xavier would say something like, Andy appears like he's just here on vacation. Like,
I spoke to him yesterday. I spoke to him like 2 days ago, and he said nothing but great things about you.
Oh,
but
yeah, I adore him. He's so great, and we always had a great rapport. I could just look across the room and smile. He'd smile back at me. I'm like, you know what? And in the end, he said, Andy, when I look back at everything, you're one of the only players that didn't try to take me down. I said, Xavier, I loved you. Like, you were amazing. You inspired me every day. So I think that, there was one point that Robbie had said something like, we got to get Andy out of here. He's like, just not helping. He doesn't. And you can see Ryan, like, I'm horrible at the challenges. Oh my God, please don't ask me to throw a ball. Don't ask me to chase someone down. I have a torn Achilles. Like, please don't, I'm like, oh no, I can't, I'm not going to be able to get far in this game with all these challenges. But then, the world knows, listen, as the ultimate team player, I'm going to try to do anything to help any team succeed or what have you. And so, I think my strategy is working right now. But in looking back and seeing some of the episodes, no one's necessarily said anything horrible about me, but at times it's like, listen, I agree. If we're looking at someone that needs to go, who's not bringing in money into the pot, it's Andy. Get rid of him. And you feel like there was one point, Ryan, in the show that you'd pick teams, for these challenges. And there were a couple of times where I was the last person picked. The last.
Yeah.
And you literally go back to like when you were 7 years old in the playground and no one fucking wanted you on the kickball team. And you're like, oh my, you just wanted to crawl under the ground. And that was weird, as an adult that's been rather successful, where suddenly I'm like, I created one situation where I'm like, I'd say to the team captains, do not pick somebody because you're best friends with them. Pick someone who is going to help you win this challenge. So I kind of cooked my own goose, but that's what sort of helped me. But boy, talking about a mind game where instead of going, oh, no one wants me on their team. Like,
that's another aspect of this game that's fascinating. I have 2 more things for you because I only have limited time. What is your proudest moment of this game thus far? By the way, like I said, you could potentially win this, so that could be the proudest moment. You just can't tell us. But what can you let us know so far in the 9 episodes that we've seen is your proudest moment so far?
Proudest moment, God, Ryan. I think from a viewer's perspective, I always look very sharp, right? I mean, I am always looking good, always, except, of course, half the fans are going, why isn't he wearing sunblock? Because, I mean, I've started to get so red and tan. But I was proud of the fact that you could see I developed some pretty sharp, I think, to be successful in life, you got to have good listening skills. And so I felt like I had some very strong listening skills in a lot of the scenes. I think that the face-offs, you'll see, I started to get pretty good at those face-offs. So I was very proud. I think it's like one of my proudest moments is being in the face-off. And I know, it's kind of difficult, but let's talk about like, we called it a Yankee swap when we grew up, where you go walk around, it's at Christmas and you're passing out boxes. And if you don't like what you have, someone else can take it. And then you take another one. Well, that's part of the face-offs that we were doing in the show. And I feel like probably some of my proudest moments are during the face-offs.
Yeah. I mean, I was also going to
strategically.
But I was also going to say, just showing that you can actually play this game as a kind helping team player, because there's so many different ways to play reality challenge shows these days. Finally, and this is just goes back to how we all know you, Billy McFarland is doing Fire Festival, the sequel now. Has he reached out to you at all? Have you talked to Billy McFarland in terms of being a part of the second go round of the doomed Fire Fest? Because at this point, your recognition is right up there with Fire Fest. You're one of the big things that we remember, that and the cheese sandwich.
Oh my God, the cheese sandwich, my biggest nightmare. Billy and I have not spoken in about 8 months. We did spend some time together last summer. I was trying to help him rebuild his image a little bit, trying to get people to trust him a little bit more. I was trying to help him raise some money to send back to the Bahamas. As you may know, I'm really the only one that set up 2 GoFundMes and raised close to $500,000 to pay people back in the Bahamas, which I didn't need to do because he owes me, upwards of $1 million from the first one. Haven't heard from him. He's gone completely rogue. And, I just said, Billy, we can have a discussion if you bring in a good partner. Someone apparently owns 51% of Fire. This morning, he made an announcement saying, that he picked a team of 6 who are going to be heading to a small island off of Mexico to start building it. And it's taking place in April. And God bless him. I've always said to him, listen, don't do it on an island again. Find a place with infrastructure. Wouldn't it be great if you found a facility that had electricity and plumbing? How about even, you don't have to worry about shipping channels and on and on. But
yeah, let's make sure the water's stocked. Let's make sure the water's stocked.
Absolutely. So, who knows? The world is watching him. And if this doesn't work, he's done forever. I'm just hoping he's not conning anybody else right now.
Kind of. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you. I could talk to you for an hour just about your actual life, which we didn't really get to go into because you've had a fascinating one. What is up next for you? Because I'm like, do we get an Andy documentary? Are you going to do another? Are you going to do another competition series? Xaviers, he's probably going to go on to another competition series. What's your next step?
Probably another competition series. We're pitching a new show, which you'll learn about, which is kind of fun, featuring me. And next week, I'm co-hosting Riverfront Revival down in Charleston, South Carolina, which is a big festival for 30,000 people, featuring Darius Rucker and Hootie and the Blowfish and the Revival.
Whoa.
So we've got quite a good lineup. It'll be my 3rd year working with Darius on that. So it's pretty exciting.
Because you live in Charleston part-time too, right?
Oh yeah, we're right down on Folly Beach right now. Well, it's a beautiful day.
I'm going to be there in a couple of weeks for a wedding. It'll be my first time in Charleston. So I'm so excited to actually see Charleston and see all the spots and stuff. But I'm so happy to have seen you again on television. The Anonymous, you guys, USA, Monday nights. The next week, that new episode goes up on Peacock, but binge it right now so you can have the excitement of these last 3 episodes, because I'm telling you, this is a really good competition reality series. And Andy King, you are a prince among men. Thank you for being here. And I hope to talk to you again one day.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Ryan. Have a great day.
You too.